Good day, everyone. This is Polyp Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at lasers in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. Are the peasants treating you poorly?
No. The peasants are actually being very well behaved this week. Ever since I got back from Gen Con, things have been good with the peasants. Not so much elsewhere, but that's a long story.
Well, then, we'll hope that they behave for a moment. So let's then head on and see what's in store for DDO this week. And it looks like that we have a little letter from our producer. And what does she have for us this time?
That is correct. The August producer's letter dropped. I was not expecting this. I mean, I knew we were going to get a producer's letter, and then all of a sudden this popped up, and I was like, oh, hey, producer's letter's here. She talked about a lot of stuff. Of course, our producer is Tolero. She starts the letter off with saying, greetings for those of you who did not know me yet. My name is Amanda Tolero Grow, and I leveled up to the rank of producer this year. If you want to hear that whole story, we did a interview with her not too long ago. I'll link it in the show notes if you want to hear the whole story of how she became the producer. She previously worked for Standing Stone Games in the community, commerce, and other behind-the-scenes roles. You can read more about that in the previous producer's letter, and as I said, our interview with her as well, which I will link both in the show notes if I remember. If not, go search them out. I've had a lot of fun watching everyone play the Isle of Dread expansion. I'm so excited to play that, but more on that later. Content so far. After all of this dinosaur hunting, now we're going to turn the tables with an updated rule set for our new season of Hardcore. Permadeath League called the Dangerous Game. The hunters are now the hunted. Yeah, that was a thing. The Hardcore League tests your ability to quest in Dungeons & Dragons Online without dying. It's permadeath, yada, yada, yada. We've talked about Hardcore. The 6 seasons running now through October 24th, so you have plenty of time to experience the Hardcore League if you wish to do so. She wraps this section of the producer's letter up and says, good luck being hunted. In the previous producer's letter, she mentioned a new character build option that would be coming later in the year, and she is here to share more information about those plans. Archetypes are now a new way of adding soon-to-play class types. So, for example, you can now play a cleric, but as the cleric archetype called the Dark Apostate, which takes a darker look at the traditional cleric role. These roles can be almost anything. They can have different enhancement trees, spells, feats, special abilities, and past lives. They are meant to explore tons of unused design space for the existing classes. Yep, go ahead.
And how is this different from the existing options? Like, for example, when you have a cleric, you're given 3 options of what type of cleric you are. How is this different from...
They're giving you more freedom to change, and there's different options in it to do it. And let's talk about the first 3 that they have announced. This might get me to play a cleric. Words I never thought I would say, but I might play a cleric. Yes, the Dark Apostate is the cleric. This undead shrouded channeler focuses on negative energy and darker magics. So it's the evil yet not evil character, because we'll never have evil characters in DDO, but this is an evil character.
Yeah.
And then there is the Stormsinger, which is for the Bard. This focuses on magic of music, along with sonic and electric focused spell casting. So, i.e., this is kind of like a souped up Bard. Of course, maybe you could, if you play Lotro, this might be similar to like a minstrel. I've never played a minstrel, so I don't know. But yeah, so that could be interesting for you bards out there. And then there is a paladin one that is called Sacred Fist. You play a hand wrap using paladin that will combine key with holy energies.
I'm trying to think what would be a good name. punk, a
Punk, I like it, yes.
punk sounds like a wrong word to use for that. Or
It is a punk, yes. Yeah, you're basically a monk, but you're a paladin, and you wear hand wraps and you punch things, basically, is what it boils down to. So yeah, that's the first 3 that are announced. There is going to be more of these in Update 56. These were available on Lamannia last week. There was a build on Lamannia that previewed these. I'm sure we'll get another build, and if I understand right, there is going to be more of these. I'm not sure. I think just the first 3 are going to debut in Update 56, and then they'll release more after that. So these are the 3 that we're getting. But yeah, like I said, this Dark Apostate Cleric, I might play a Cleric. Never have I ever thought I would utter those words in my life. But here we are. So yeah, check those out. I'm excited for those. I'm excited for that Dark Apostate for sure. I have no desire to play a Bard, so I probably won't check that out. No desire to play a Paladin, but just that Dark Apostate is just screaming my name for so many reasons. I know you're shocked, right? You interested in checking any of these out?
These? Well, I suppose the Sacred Fist I might.
That's the one that I thought kind of, I'm like, out of these 3, which one is the most pine leafy? Pretty much the Goody Two-Shoes Paladin. That would be the pine leafy characters out of all this. So I was right.
Yeah, a bit typecast there.
Well, no. I just, here we are, yes. So Update 56 is also going to give the opportunity to take a fresh look at the classic adventure pack, the Temple of Elemental Evil. They will be making some changes to the heroic version and also adding support for legendary levels. We've also heard from you over the years about some of the tougher and more confusing parts of the Temple of Part 1 and Part 2, and they are going to be breaking up these exceptionally long dungeons into a series of smaller quests. Thank God.
Yes.
Now you can make progress in the temple without feeling like you have to go back to the drawing board if you can't get through it all in one setting. Yeah, this needed to be done a long time ago.
I've been trying to figure out where they're likely to do their splitting.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. It's going to be interesting to see how they do break it up. But yeah, this, like I said, this needed done a long time ago, because I love the Temple of Evil. Don't get me wrong, but it's way too long.
Yeah, and it looks like they are thinking about something about a little other problem that I have with the temple.
Yes, I figured you would be excited about this. They're also looking at some of the more difficult boss encounters. Looking at you, Zuggedmoy. And updating the entrance to the temple, among other things. So expect to see this work soon on Lamannia. So yeah, it looks like they're going to update Zuggedmoy somehow, the fight. I will admit, that fight is a little on the difficult side. Once you understand it, it's not bad, but it's still really hard. So.
You might be able to say it's not bad.
Well, okay, fine.
Even when I understand it, I still can't find those crazy safe mushrooms. And I say, oh, there's a mushroom right there. Dead.
Yeah. Oh, I've been in there with you. I know. So yeah, exciting things happening to the Temple of Elemental Evil. But wait, there's more. Temple isn't the only classic DDO thing that is getting some love. I'm excited to tell you about the changes coming in September to the Crystal Cove event. This work is going to make it easier for players to get into the Crystal Cove, and they've identified some changes to improve performance during the event as well. No more gathering treasure map pieces and waiting around for the mining challenge to open. Instead, you can simply open the door to the Cobalt Challenge as long as the event is running and you have a treasure compass to enter. You'll also be able to turn in any old map pieces for doubloons. Speaking of those doubloons, you'll find them, randomly in chests that will drop throughout the event runs. And you'll also have a chance to get a treasure compass when you defeat the new Ghost Champion. That will appear in dungeons wherever whenever the event is active. Look for more information on Lamannia soon as they get closer to the event. So good to see them taking a look at Crystal Cove. I know a lot of people love Crystal Cove and have been wanting that to be updated for a long time. So there you go. And then later on into the year, there will be a new adventure pack for Update 57. It's going to continue the story of the Peril of the Planar Eyes. Morgrave University has learned more about the Planar Eyes, and so has the Hidden Hand, the cult in Eberron that is now worshipping Vecna. Race against time to claim the remaining Planar Eyes and learn more about the secrets of the Codex of the Infinite Planes, while thwarting the plans of others seeking the same treasure. Players can also expect the typical seasonal events such as the Night Rebels and Festivals to round out this year. So thank you for reading the producer's letter, and there will be a new letter when they are ready to unveil the plans for 2023. So there is our August producer's letter. So some exciting stuff. I'm excited about a lot of things in this letter, actually.
It looks like I didn't see anywhere in there where they're talking about the updates to the banking space.
No, that was not in here.
Yeah, but that was on Lamannia.
It was. That's what I heard. I saw that on the forums because I didn't get on Lamannia once again. More on that later, probably.
Yeah, well, yes, I did not realize until you're halfway through all that Lamannia is up. So I am going to have to check that out.
Is it up right now? I know it was up.
Yeah. Based on what they're saying, it looks like Preview 2 is up now.
Oh, is it? I did not pop on the forums to see that
we have all these threads about Preview number 2, and it says Preview 2 on August 17th, it looks like.
Sure does. You are correct. I neglected to pop into the forums before we started the show. But yes, it looks like Lamannia is running now. So if you're listening to this as we record, if you're live, it'll be up. And it looks like it's running. So now through, hold on. Looks like Thursday, August 18th. So you're probably going to miss it unless you listen to this right when the show releases. You'll have a little bit of time to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it looks like, just kind of taking a look here, see if there's anything new. The Temple of Elemental Evil quest are not available for the preview this week. You can check out some of the updated loot they're doing for the temple, though, but still no quest.
Where's the general item in there? Because I'm looking at all these threads here. Doesn't? That's where it's at, down there.
Yeah, there is
I didn't go down far enough. Okay.
Revamp item thread. Let's see. There items that drop from the revamped Temple of Elemental Evil will now be ML8 in Heroic and ML31 in Legendary. Once again, this is all subject to change. This is on Lamannia. Yada, yada, yada.
Right.
They're also adding something called a random encounter chest into the temple. Random encounter chest in the temple will no longer drop named equipables, but that doesn't mean they're not worth searching for. There are some new augments that will be found in the temple, including rubies of elemental blast, an effect formerly found on craftable weapons, and rubies of implements elemental, which grants both equipment bonus to the element's spell power and the standard implement bonus on spell casting implements. They're both in Heroic and Legendary. These are being worked on as well, so they aren't available in this preview, but stay tuned. There's also going to be some tougher optionals in the new temple, they say, and that's where you'll be able to locate all the old named items that you used to be able to find in the temple's random encounter chest. Sapphire, Sting, etc., etc. These items will remain unchanged, retaining their current stats and minimum level. So there you go. If you still want the old stuff, you can still find it. It's going to be optional encounters, tougher encounters, they say.
Yeah. So in other words, you're not going to be running into the items because right now those random encounters are in the middle of corridors and the like.
Right, exactly. It's not the best.
Right. So it can't be. Right, so you're not going to put extra tough encounters there.
Well, you would hope not.
I mean, right now, I mean that Medusa. Well, I think I finally figured out how to fight that Medusa, but that's another one.
I love that Medusa fight. That's one of my favorite fights in the temple, I think. Also, the old crafting system. We took a hard look at the existing TOEE crafting system, and they ultimately decided to leave it behind. Existing ingredients will continue to exist, but they're not going to drop anymore. Existing bases and crafted weapons and armor will continue to exist, but they won't drop anymore as well. The crafting station will still exist somewhere, so if you have leftover ingredients, you can use them to finish up anything that you might be working on. As they said above, we made static name versions of all the fully upgraded armors that you'll be able to find in End Chest, but you won't be adding new weapons to the pack. So they do go on to say that the old crafting system had literally more than 500 distinct craftable bases.
Oh boy!
Obtaining the exact one you wanted was extremely daunting in epics and nearly impossible in heroics. They experimented with a few methods of obtaining bases in a different way, but dealing with that many base types was either performance intensive or bad gameplay experience. So that's why they decided to do away with the mushroom crafting. Thank God, because I did it once. Will never go do it again. Was not worth it.
Yeah, I was pretty much ignoring those mushrooms.
I thought you were. But yeah, I actually did it one time, and yeah, not worth it at all. So exciting. So there you go. That's on Lamannia. Like I said, it's up now till tomorrow. So you have a little time if you're listening to this live. If you listen to this when the episode drops, hurry up. You're either out of time or you're about out of time. Depends where you fall in your listening of this episode.
Then let's see what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Dungeons & Dragons on your turntable, new music album to promote Spelljammer. Turntable, you mean as in a vinyl LP?
Yes, sir. Shut up and take my money, Wizards of the Coast. That's right. Dungeons & Dragons is getting a vinyl record because why not? Yep, Wizards of the Coast has eventually unveiled Spelljams. This is a full-length musical album that is produced by Chris Funk. He is the lead guitarist of the Decemberist. If that name sounds vaguely familiar, we talked about them probably a year ago on the podcast because they released a Dungeons & Dragons themed album. So he is the one that is spearheading this. The album will contain music by Reggie Watts, Magic Sword, Michaela Davis, and Wizards of Waz, among many, many others. Each track in the new album references a story beat from the Light of Zagreus. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's one of the new adventures found in the Spelljammer Adventures in Space box set. Spelljams is inspired by Queen's soundtrack for the movie Flash Gordon. So think the Flash Gordon soundtrack, and that's pretty much what you're going to get with this. I'm intrigued. Each song on Spelljams corresponds with a chapter in the new Spelljam adventure. Although titles like, and I'm going to put up, spoiler alert here, their titles of some of the songs are called Seeds of Destruction and Left Hand Path. They are sort of spoilerish for the adventure. So yeah, and this is going to be released on streaming platforms as well, which it is available now, as a matter of fact. In the article over on DDO Players, I did post links to the Spotify, the Apple Music, and the Amazon Music links. So if you use any of those streaming services, you can go ahead and stream this now. But yes, there is a vinyl release. It's going to have 2 covers. There's going to be a standard edition and then the artifact edition. The standard edition is supposed to be coming this year, and the artifact edition is going to be either late in the year or early 2023. You can order the standard black version of the vinyl on Amazon now if you wish. There is some color variants that I did put in the article as well, and oh my god, some of these color variants are flipping amazing. For the vinyl, those not on pre-order yet. Once we find out more information on how to pre-order the color variants, I will let you know. But yeah, if you follow me on any social media, you know I really love my vinyl. And yeah, I was like screaming so loud when I got this press release. And my Wizards of the Coast rep actually sent me another email, and she was like, "So you're excited about this vinyl, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Haha, you know I am." So yeah, Spell Jams, D&D, the record.
Ooh, all right, then let's have a look at yet another Lord of the Rings RPG, which is coming from a Free League. What are they going to be doing now?
Did we need another Lord of the Rings role-playing game? Debatable. But
what makes this one different?
Well, I think I reached out to Free League for clarification on this, and I haven't heard back from them yet. But this is entitled Lord of the Rings role-playing game, so straight to the point. It does what it says right on the tin. This is
5e on the tin.
It's for D&D 5e. So there is that. The game is going to introduce 6 new classes, 6 original heroic cultures that are found in Eriador, and rules for journeys, wondrous artifacts, and a more suitable style of magic that will be found in Middle-earth.
Okay, is this then a replacement for the old 5e?
Yes, if I do believe this is built on the bones of Adventures in Middle-earth.
Okay.
And this is going to replace that. They didn't specifically say that, but I do believe that is the case, and I have reached out for them. This is going to be on pre-order coming later in the fall. Look for a retail release around first quarter of 2023. So yes, I do believe if you played Adventures in Middle-earth, this is going to replace that, is what I think, which itself is an offshoot of the One Ring RPG. So what I think they're doing is they're taking the new edition of the One Ring and they're updating it, and they're going to release this instead of a new version of Middle-earth Adventures, I think, is how I took it when I read this press release, and everything else that I've seen about it. And I watched a couple YouTube videos of people talking about this, and they kind of had the same impression that I had too, that this is going to replace that. So pretty exciting. I love the cover. I don't know if that's like the finalized cover or not, but I really, really like that cover a lot.
Gandalf on Shadowfax.
It's a pretty great cover. So there you go. So if you want to get your token on in your D&D, you can now do that with this new version.
Right, and that's what we have coming from the dungeon. So let's see what's on the tabletops this week. And it looks like they have some numbers about Gen Con, and I've been hearing rumors that the place was packed.
Oh my God, that is not a rumor. I can verify that because I was there in the middle of all the craziness. Yeah, there was a crap ton of people there. The official numbers, they say Gen Con was a resounding success, attracting over 50,000 attendees. They didn't break the number down specifically, but they just say over 55,000, and I'm sorry, over 50,000. And I can verify that there was a lot of people there. It wasn't quite as bad as, like, say, 2018, 2019, when there was like 75,000 people. but you could tell there was a ton of people there, and there was lines, there was people all around. It was hard to get through the vendor hall. So you could tell it was not like last year when it was like a pared down convention. This was full on Gen Con. Like I said, not quite to their full capacity, but pretty darn close. But what's wonderful about this, which I was so happy that they did release these numbers too, for the 55th version of Gen Con just a couple weeks ago, they generated an estimated $57.4 million in economic activity for all the restaurants, the hotels, and other local businesses in and around Indianapolis, which is amazing, because those poor folks needed it after the whole COVID thing. And I'm still sad about 2 or 3 restaurants that aren't there anymore because of the whole COVID issue. But so happy that 57.4 million estimated got pumped into the local Indianapolis economy. So that is always great to hear. Looking forward to more Gen Con in Indy, at least for the next couple of years. Wah, wah.
Okay.
We'll see what happens after the contract ends, because we're not going to get into politics on the show. Gen Con have already said they're going to be looking at other places to host the convention due to some politics that happened in my lovely state of Indiana. But like I said, I'm not going to get political on the show. So if you want more information about that, just Google it. You can find it. We're not going to talk about it. But Gen Con will be back in Indy August 3rd to the 6th in 2023, and so will I.
Well, then let's have a look at what's happening with Zombie Mania, which is coming from Trick or Treat Studios. This sounds like something that they're planning to release on Halloween based on the title and of the game and of the studio itself.
It would be a apropos game to play on Halloween. It's on pre-order now. They don't have a release date for it, but I would venture a guess it's going to be around fall, though. You were correct. This is a new printing of the Press Your Luck dice game by Reiner Knizia. You might have heard of him, maybe, possibly.
Dr. Knizia.
He's had a few games, I mean, I don't know. I heard he does good stuff, but I don't know. Yes, this is originally was released back in 2014. I personally have never heard of this game, but it is a press your luck type of game. Players are going to roll bones to stave off a horde of zombies coming at them. You push your luck in this dice game where you need to make more successful rolls to remove zombies from the buildings they have captured. It's going to have 6 player mats, 8 custom dice, 40 zombie tokens, 2 to 5 players, 14 and up, about 20 minutes gameplay, $29.95. So it's kind of going for a entry level, family type level situation here. But yeah, it's coming from Trick or Treat Studios, which they have a bunch of good games coming out. And this is the first game they are going to release. They've announced a bunch of games, but if you're not familiar with who Trick or Treat Studios is, they're actually in the visual effects for Halloween. They do a lot of like Halloween masks, Halloween statues, stuff like that. They've been around forever. And last year at Gen Con, actually, they announced a couple games that they were getting into the game publishing. I don't think they're designing any games in-house. I think they're just publishing the games as far as I know. I've reached out to them for more information, hopefully to get on like a PR list and stuff, and to find a little more information about them. But I'm sort of kind of interested in this, I think. I mean, I like zombies. I like push your luck, press your luck dice games. So why not? Knizia, he's not so bad.
Then let's have a look at a little bit of tidbit that I heard about a couple of days ago, which I think has gotten quite a few number of ears perked up.
Yeah.
Something about a little game called Heroescape.
Yeah, it's coming back for those of you that care.
Yeah.
Hang on, I can't hear myself for the scream of people yelling about this. Yeah, this, like, nobody knew this was coming. And Gen Con opened, and if you walked in the Gameplay Hall E, that's where Avalon Hill was. They had a glass case, and in the glass case, and I have a picture of this over on the site that I took at Gen Con, They had some Hero Quest stuff. They had the new Yachting Portal game. They had the new Risk game they were showing off. They were showing off some Hero Quest stuff. And then they had this other thing that I like walked by and I'm like, wait a minute. I know those tiles. Hold on. So I looked at it closer and I'm like, holy crap, it's Heroescape. So yeah, if you're familiar with Heroescape, it's the hex-based battle game. They're going to have a new starter set coming out. It's called Hero Quest, or Heroescape. I'm sorry, I'm getting the two hero games confused. Heroescape, Age of Annihilation. It's going to feature a red dragon, which I do have a picture of. If you look over on the site, the dragon looks freaking amazing. If you're watching the YouTube video, it's going to be on the screen right now as well. Also featuring different humanoid, dwarven, and other fantasy creatures as well. They haven't really announced much about this, and this is really how they announced it. They just had this, like, you just walked by this glass case and you were like, oh my God, it's Heroescape. And then I pressed them for more information and they're like, yeah, coming soon.
Coming soon.
I'm like, you're not going to tell me anything. They're like, coming soon. So I'm like, yeah, bastards. So
they're being cagey about this one.
Yeah, that very, very much so. I did get a little bit out of them though. The miniatures are going to be unpainted, which is kind of weird. I'm really surprised they're doing unpainted on the miniatures.
I think that one thing that I heard someone speculate about was because they're trying to reach a certain price point, and
yes. And that's I've heard that too. So yeah, and I tried to get out of them if this was going to be straight to retail or it's going to go to Pulse, and they wouldn't answer that question. So my gut is telling me this is going to be on Pulse, like Hero Quest was. And if they do that, I would kind of think there would be. Because like in the Hero Quest, you had the Mythic tier for the Hero Quest Pulse. So I could see them doing some type of Mythic tier or whatever they want to call it for this one, and maybe include printed or painted miniatures in that, pre-painted ones. I don't know. I'm just speculating on that. But yeah, so they did say more information was coming soon. But yeah, everybody was losing their mind at Gen Con about this. I'm excited. I'm probably going to lose some of my geek cred here when I say this next statement, but I have never played Heroescape. I never knew anybody that had it, so I never got to play it. I mean, I know it. I've watched YouTube videos of people playing it. I've debated several times about buying old sets on eBay because it looks amazing, but I've never actually played it, so I'm kind of excited. I guess I will get to learn about Heroescape
when they get around to releasing it.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Again, I'm speculating. I would assume this will be on Pulse later in the year, and then it'll be released next year. Just my gut guess, but like I said, don't take any of that as a grain of salt. No information on that whatsoever, because I barely got out of them that the miniatures were not going to be painted. That's really all they would say. And then if you're not really familiar with, you're like, what the heck is this Heroescape? You are taking on the role of a powerful general who gathered warriors from across time and space to fight their battles for them. The original system was developed by Stephen Baker, who, you may know from a little game called Hero Quest. This dude called Rob Dabbio, no idea what that dude's ever done. I mean, he's like a newcomer. No, I kid, Rob, I kid. Yeah, he's done Risk Legacy, Return to Dark Tower, insert whatever game here. Rob Dabbio has done so many games. And Craig Van Ness, who his probably most claim to fame for that is the Star Wars Epic Duels game. The base set was first released back in 2004. It did expand into the Marvel universe as well, so there was a Marvel Heroescape as well. There was also a Dungeons and Dragons set and Magic the Gathering set as well. People really rave about the old pre-painted figures that came with it. They were really good figures, and the terrain. It's like a hex based, and the hex terrains kind of stack, which people love the terrain, and people actually use this terrain for other games. So it's very, very highly sought after. Even to this day, people, you can go on eBay right now and just type in Heroscape, and I'm sure you're going to find tons and tons of sets. And it wasn't, last time I looked, horribly priced on eBay, but I bet now with this announcement of a new version coming, I bet the price is going to be what the former Hero Quest prices used to be. So yeah. And then there is like a little teaser trailer if you want to watch it, but don't bother because it's worthless. It doesn't. I've told you more than what this trailer tells you, or teaser, I should say. So yeah. So I did link that if you actually want to watch it, but yeah, don't bother. It's kind of worthless.
If it goes on the Pulse, I'm trying to think, because I don't follow what they've put on the Pulse in the past. Have they had deluxe versions on Pulse in addition to the standard versions? They sell things on there. Because one person was speculating that maybe when it goes on to crowdfunding, that they would have a deluxe version that is paid.
Right, yeah, and that's kind of what I said about, like, in the Hero Quest Pulse, there was the Mythic tier that added on a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
So I could see them doing that with this.
Right.
You will have your base buy-in, and then you'll have your deluxe or your elite or mythic or whatever, insert whatever weird name they come up for the give us all of your money pledge here.
Give us all your money pledge.
Yeah. Basically, that's, what we're talking about. So, yeah, I could totally see them doing that. But so yeah, we will release more information when we have it. Like I said, as of now, that's all we know, and they were pretty tight-lipped. I actually finally met the actual PR person for Avalon Hill. I've been trying to get a hold of the actual PR person at Avalon Hill forever, and I've been getting the runaround. And when I was at the booth, when I saw this, I was just randomly talking to the first guy I saw, and then I handed him my business card, and he handed me his, and I was like, oh, hey, you're the dude I've been trying to find all along. Because I'm like, yeah, trying to find your email or who to talk to was nigh impossible.
Right.
So yeah, Heroscape coming back. More information soon. I'll post about it and we'll talk about it, I'm sure.
And that's it for the tabletop. So let's then head into our week in game. Gaming and Drac, what were you up to? I think it had something to do with the little convention you went.
Yeah, a little thing called Gen Con. Quick little Gen Con wrap up. Gen Con went extremely well. We have a bunch of interviews that I'm going to start to get edited and released, so look for those videos coming soon. Came home with about 32 games to review, so lots of unboxing videos coming soon, reviews coming soon. Just gotta get people around to play some games. It's a tough life I lead, I know. So yeah, and then I've got like at least 6 or 7 more that are going to be mailed to me because people were selling out of stuff left and right at Gen Con. There was several companies that wanted to give me stuff, but they're like, we sold out, we don't have any here, we're gonna head and mail it to you. So look for all of that stuff coming soon. But yeah, like I said, starting probably early next week, we will have our interview videos from Gen Con up. I also talked to several companies, didn't actually do a recorded interview because their booth was just slammed with those 50,000 people that were there. So it was just not possible to actually record an interview, but I did sit down with several companies and had a pretty good long chat with them. So I'll probably put up a post about those companies because I do know, some information about some upcoming games. Also got a chance to play some games while I was at Gen Con. Imagine that, playing games at Gen Con. Who does that? What a weird concept. Thing. Exactly. Got to play Dice Throne finally. So excited. I was so excited to play this. Looking forward to actually playing the marble version of this because I do have the marble dice throne. We just played, my friend and I got a chance to play just the original dice throne game. Super, super fun. My friend kind of nailed it on the head. It's kind of Yahtzee meets King of Tokyo.
Yahtzee meets King of
is the best way to describe it.
Well, strange because some people describe King of Tokyo as a variant on Yahtzee.
It's similar to both games. You have a hero, and then the person that you're playing has a hero, and you're battling it out. You're just trying to do damage to that other person and knock them out. You have different skills and everything that you can use, and what you do is you roll dice, and you can do basically like a Yahtzee roll. So you roll the dice, and you can like, okay, I'm going to keep these two because your skills are all cards, and on your character sheet you lay these cards, and then your cards, might require two of one specific symbol and like maybe two of another, or something like that. Or you can do like a full house, or you can do a small straight or a full straight, or you can do which I forgot what it was called, but it's basically a Yahtzee. So you can roll up to 3 times, and then you do whatever damage, and then you can also choose not to do any damage, and you can upgrade your cards to get better skills. It's super fun. It played pretty quick too. It's real, and it's easy to learn, easy to teach. So excited. Like I said, we were just playing the base version, but I will be playing the marble version here soon, hopefully, once I get somebody over here to check out that, as I did kickstart the marble version, and I did just do the just not too long ago on Kickstarter, they had the Santa Claus versus Krampus, which is amazing. So I'm excited for that. And then also with that, as part of that Kickstarter, you could actually upgrade your pledge to get all of the original stuff. So I did that. So I have basically the whole Dice Throne set, or I will when it delivers, but who knows what that'll be. Then also got to play Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught, which of course was one of the most anticipated games on my list, if you remember that. It is super fun. I'm so excited for this game. We played like an abridged version. It was a smaller map. It's exactly what I assumed it was going to be. It's each player controls 2 characters, and you're battling it out in this dungeon, and you're just trying to knock each other out. There is also a autonomous player, which is like monsters that will attack you as well. So you kind of have to deal with them, and you have to deal with the other person. Then, each character plays different. You have special skills, yada, yada, yada. There was just 4 different characters that we could play, and then we were fighting kobolds, was the autonomous monster. But in the full version of the game, there's going to be, I think, over 30 different playable characters, and like, I think they said 10 different monsters. And then, of course, they're going to add on to that. There's going to be add-on packs. So super excited for that as well. And then played G.I. Joe Mission Critical, again, on my most anticipated list. This was not as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's super fun. There is a couple things about the rules that I would tweak a little bit, but overall it is super fun. Played pretty quick too. It would have played quicker, but my friend and I were playing, and then we got paired with like 2 random people, and the one dude that we were playing with had analysis paralysis so bad, and we were just like, dude, just go, just make a decision and go. It's not life or death here. What's nice about it, though, is you all play at once, though, so there's no, like, set turn order. So that kind of helped with that a little bit, so we could just keep going. And then we finally got to the point where it was just him left, and we were just like, oh, my God, just go, dude, just go. And then one other thing I forgot to put on my list, I'll have to add this on the list. I did get to play the new Covenant expansion for Return to Dark Tower that just recently wrapped up. up on BackerKit. Yes, not Kickstarter. It was on BackerKit. It was the first project actually on the new BackerKit crowdfunding site. It did successfully fund. Got to set in on this. My friend joined me. We were at a press only, so there was a couple press people there, and then we were with one of the designers, and then a couple of the people from the studio. Restoration Games kept coming over to the table and kind of hanging out with us, so that was kind of cool just to chat with them. Rob Davio being one of them, the previously mentioned Rob Davio. It was nice to catch up with him. I interviewed him a couple years ago, and he actually remembered who I was, and he was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then he asked if we had any questions about the game. That was the first time I've actually played Return to Dark Tower. They did so good at updating that game. It was so fun. And then the Covenant expansion is adding these new monuments that changed the rules a little bit. We were playing with some prototype versions of those. And some of the rules, they said they're going to tweak a little bit, but mostly what we were playing with was all prototype stuff, but they said it was pretty much how it's going to be in the final version. There's just a couple tweaks they're going to make. One of the monuments, which we actually didn't get to in the game, they said they're going to change that because it's a little overpowered right now. So they're still tweaking that. But yeah, so that was all the board games I played. And then only other thing I did at Gen Con was on Wednesday night, Rent, Lessa, Tay, and Mythery. Yes, Mythery Inferno was live at Gen Con. We did our annual go out to Korean barbecue on Wednesday night and then play D&D 5e. So we did that. Rent was the DM on that. We had a super blast just sitting around a table talking, playing D&D 5e. Rent came up with this great story. We actually, unfortunately, didn't get to finish it. We're at kind of like a cliffhanger. So we decided, you know what? We're going to take this game online and finish this. So we're going to go online and use either like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, one of those. I assume we're going to use Fantasy Grounds and finish that story. But yeah, Rent went all out. He 3D printed a bunch of terrain and some other stuff. He even had his laptop there, and the story revolved around some artificers and some why am I drawing a blank? Warforged. And when it was the Warforged character, he grabbed this headset and he had this voice changer and he changed his voice to sound like a robot. It was amazing. So Rent went all out for the live D&D 5e at Gen Con. So we're going to be finishing, like I said, we're going to be finishing that game online. And then that was it. So I actually did get to play some games, which was fun. Came home, was going to play some games on the computer, but that's not happening. Games on the computer are not going to happen for a while. Hopefully not very long. RIP computer. RIP. That's all I gotta say. Yep. Alas, it served me well. I'm patting it now and remembering the fond times I had with it as I look at it dead over on the floor. So, how about you? What were you up to?
All right, we'll begin with DDO, where my Tabaxi monk, seeing how I had finished up what I was doing in Saltmarsh, I decided, hey, let's go and try that's right. After that, I did a little bit of stuff in the Feywild, but not too much. And I wound up getting to level 7. So I thought, let's try the Temple of Elemental Evil, Part 1. And the reason why I want to try it is I want to see if I could speculate as to where they'll be doing their splits.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it looks like that Part 1, there's a real obvious place in which to split Temple of Elemental Evil in half. Between level 1 and level 2, because of all the rigmarole you got to do in level 1 in order to get down into level 2. So you have this bit of a filter in order to get into that location. So I would say that's an obvious place in which you could do a split on that. And I was also thinking, would they split levels 2 and 3 or just have that as one dungeon? To me, it looks like that if they had split level 2 off from level 3 is going to be a very, very small dungeon. So I am thinking that level 2, that part 2, or I guess part 2, let's scale part 1B, that's right, 1A, and then 1B will be the levels 2 and 3 combined together, will be my guess on that. I haven't had a chance to run part 2 yet. Probably part of it is that because I'm dreading the thought of going against a certain mushroom goddess, so to speak, at the end.
Good luck, sir. Good luck.
Yeah, and I noticed that they don't have the temple. I think you even read that, is that the temple's not quite ready for Lamannia. They're just getting the items ready on that stuff, but the actual temple itself, maybe they'll have it ready next week or something like that. Maybe I could learn the truth of it. But perhaps I will see if I could run through part 2 and make my guess as to where they're going to split things up. I'm just sure that if they don't make Zuggtmoy any easier, I'll just be skipping whatever part she's in.
Well, I can't wait to see if your theories are right, where you think they're going to split it. So
right, we'll have to see on that. Now, I've also had a Tabaxi Artificer that I created on the hardcore server.
I've been waiting to talk to you about hardcore ever since the Hardcore League opened.
Right, and real joy those dogs, I must say.
Gonna say, do you like the hounds?
Yeah, I like the hounds, yeah. They keep on hounding me. But anyway, I got through. So I got through the early parts through Borderlands. So I got through Borderlands, then of course doing Salt Marsh, and actually that's where I started doing the Feywild and not getting very far of it. That's right. I had done Feywild already back on the Monk. But anyway, on here I was trying to do Feywild. I got to the beginning of through the first quest. I tried doing the second quest, and I don't think I've ever gotten so lost in the Feywild before. So the one time I had a chance in which to work when I got completely lost, so I just went back. Oh, and I did run into the windmill one. I said, okay, let's try the windmill one. And the quest bugged out on me.
Oh, no.
I managed to complete everything in the quest, but it was still stuck on, despite the fact that I killed the windmill, I killed the illusionist, it was still saying to me, talk to Dame, what's her name? It's like,
oh, no.
Oh, well, okay, fine. I just say, okay, that was it for the night. I just gave up that night. I don't think I had a chance to get into the hardcore server since then, except for a quick trip to go around the landscape a little bit. So we'll see if I can get back in there and make better progress next time.
But you're still alive, though.
Yeah, I'm still alive. I'm level 6 right now, and I am still alive. So I guess I at least made it to level 6, which...
Well, see, there you go. See, I told you could do it.
Well, yeah, but I think I said that my plan was to get to level 10. That's the tricky bit.
Well, true.
Now, the big problem that I've had here was that around the time I got to the level where I'm getting ready to run to Salt Marsh, I noticed that I didn't get the drops that I needed to get the rune arm from the Borderlands because I didn't get one of each of the 3 ingots. I got two or three of one ingot and one of the other, but I didn't get any of the third ingot, which meant that I couldn't get the rune arm.
Right.
So I was trying to think, well, how am I going to get the rune arm? So I was trying various ways. I went to various dungeons, all that stuff, which have a chance of getting a rune arm, but a rune arm would not drop me for the life of it. I eventually decided, all right, fine. I will go to the old starting area because I know there's a guaranteed rune arm in there.
I was gonna say I was trying to think of where you're guaranteed a rune arm, and the only place I could think of was Korthos.
Yeah, so I went to Korthos, and that's where I learned that for this round of it is I was just above the level where you're allowed to run Korthos because they added a max level above the dungeon level for running anything on this season. So I just missed. I didn't realize that they had that rule for this one. so I couldn't run anything on Quartos, which meant I couldn't get that rune arm. So I still don't have a
Oh
rune
no!
arm.
So you still have a rune arm?
Right,
Oh,
because
jeez.
every quest I do that could get you. Oh, I know what I did. One time. Oh, yes, I forgot about this one. I had gone into not three, yeah, three barrel cove because there is a optional in there that can drop a rune arm. And unfortunately, because I did check the auction house to see if anyone was selling.
That's what I was just about to ask. Did you check the auction house?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I either saw once or maybe twice that I saw a rune arm in there, and they were both where it cost more than the amount of money that I had available. So, yeah, therefore that meant so I went in there, and this is one of those optional encounters. But to my shocking surprise, the optional encounter was there the first time I ran. In fact, I think it was the second mob I killed the first time I went into Three Barrel Cove. So it's a really easy to get to optional encounter, and I went and fought that optional encounter 12 times, and which means I went to that area 12 times, and the optional encounter was there 12 times. So it must be a 100% optional encounter. I can tell you for sure that what is not a 100% is the dropping of that rune arm. Because you're thinking, I ran it 12 times. Why did I run 12 times? Because he wouldn't drop the rune arm.
Of course not.
Right. So, yes. So I still don't have a rune arm because...
I know another... It's a pretty long quest chain, but if you do the Lost Seekers in the Waterworks, that will give you a rune arm in the end. That's one of the end choices.
I guess I got the impression that wasn't 100%. Or is it?
I thought it was always in the end reward list that you could pick from, but I might be wrong. Anybody that's listening, shoot us an email.
Well, I'm level 6 now, so I can't run that.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your only other thing you could do if you're totally desperate, and I know this is against everything that's probably in you, go to the DDO store and buy one.
I am not that buying something
right.
I don't for a temporary character.
Right. What gonna say? Number one, it's hardcore, but I don't suggest ever going to the DDO store to buy a weapon. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
But that's one. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some other quests that's like your level.
I mean, I was thinking of doing the catacombs there. In fact, I even did the first quest there. But then I see that about the time in which you would actually earn it, I was thinking, wait a minute, that's probably if that's a rare drop on there. I say, am I going to go through all the way through the catacombs just for the chance that this would happen?
If anybody knows any other places, go ahead and respond on the YouTube video or shoot us an email, podcast@ddoplayers.com.
Now, there was one that was given there was one place in Salt Marsh where it does drop inside of under the cover of darkness.
Okay.
So I ran that 3 times.
And it did
trying to see if I could get that.
Welcome to my RNG nightmare.
Yes. Yeah, that was basically what it was. And so I ran under the cover of darkness 3 times, seeing, can I get a rune arm to drop? No, I think it's decided that I'm just going to see how far I can get without a rune arm. Because it's not like my build is highly dependent on having a rune arm. So, because I just... Pew, 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 pew.
I figured you were a pew-pewer.
Yeah. So the rune arm isn't all that critical to it. It's just that I never thought about how difficult it was before. I guess probably because normally in Borderlands I get one of all 3 of those ingots, and before Borderlands existed, of course, there was always the freebie one. So
right, yeah.
Anyway, that's it for DDO. And on tabletop, I was playing Welcome to the Moon. I don't know if you're familiar with that game.
I have heard of it, and I have seen it. Well, I saw it at Gen Con, actually, but I've never played it.
Right. So I finally got through the first cycle of the campaign, because one of the things that they do is they have where you can play it in adventure mode where you choose one of the 8 maps in order to use. You also play a campaign where you play through the 8 maps in order. And once you finish the campaign, they shake things up a little bit, because the first time you go through the campaign, it's pretty much just play each of the maps, it's most like. Second time you go through, they start throwing in variations. And I have a feeling that if you do it a third time, it'll be more and more varied. It's sort of written as a time loop story. It looks like, see how they are.
Ah, okay.
Where they make little changes on it, where you're trying to get around, trying to fix what happened last time, because last time everything's go horribly wrong in the end, so you go through a time
Gotcha.
to fix it. Yeah. So it looks like they're turning the campaign is essentially a time loop story where you go through the campaign multiple times, trying to be better, shall we say, or whatever. So I'm on the second adventure of the second cycle through it, and I have no idea how many times that loops through before they say, all right, enough already, because there's only so much that's going to fit inside that campaign book. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you can go to the nation's page for support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And it looks like we have an email from Patrick. What's that all about?
We do. He entitled it Skeletons in the Closet, because I had said we were talking about skeletons, the closet raid, and I mentioned something about Patrick will write in and tell us all about it, and he wrote in and said, nope, not gonna tell you anything. Gonna drag your ass up to Cap and show you. Have fun at Gen Con. I'm gonna put you to work when you get back, Patrick. So apparently I'm going to be doing a raid in my future at some point. So, okay, thank you, question mark.
If you'd like to send an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. It's Players Alliance @Players Ally, DDO Players @DDO Players, and Dracula @Dracula_72, and Piningpet. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have Lotro Players News, and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, at least when Drac is available at such time.
Sure.
I mean, this week he was.
I'm going to say, we're actually recording on Wednesday. It's some Christmas miracle.
Yes. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. That is all for tonight, and this is Punk Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.